everybody, it's Teresa. Welcome to my channel. I've got the August 2023 curated bead box to share with you all today. It's called Bayou Blues. I know it's awfully early to be getting a bead box for August when we're only a little more than halfway through July. And I was pretty surprised to see it in my mailbox today. They sent me an email and told me they were going to send me an August box, and I assumed I'd be getting it around the 1st of August. And then when this was in the mail today, I thought maybe they had sent me a July box. And I haven't really had a chance to watch any of the other videos on YouTube by the other people who do unboxings, so I hadn't seen any of the unboxings for the curated bead box for July. Even though I've stopped trying to make a video every day, I still don't have a lot of time to watch videos. I put them on sometimes at night when I go to bed and try to watch them, but not trying to make a video every day has really improved my sleep, so I can usually only make it about 5 minutes and I'm asleep. So I hadn't seen any of the unboxings for the curated bead box for July. But after I got this one, I looked at some of the others, and this wasn't the theme for July. So I guess this is the August box, and I just got it really early, which is fine. It's never too early to get beads. This is a monthly subscription. It's $20 a month, and that includes shipping in the United States. I'm not sure whether they even ship outside the United States or not. They gave me a coupon code. It's Teresa35, and I'll put it on the screen here and in the description box below. And I'll also put a link to the page to sign up for the subscription if you want to check it out. The coupon code will save you 35% off your first box. So that would save you $7 off your first box. So your first box would be $13. I'll also put a link to dollarbead.com, which is what they're a division of. That's not the Dollar Bead box. That's dollarbead.com. And their little list here of everything that they have in the box has these little codes on the side of it, and if you see something in here that you'd like to order more of, you can put the code in the search bar on dollarbead.com and it'll come up and you can order more of it if they still have it. I've had a few of these boxes before. They're mostly glass beads, usually round glass beads. There won't be any check glass or anything like that in here. They usually do have at least one strand of some type of gemstone. But I was looking on the list here, and it looks like in this one there's about 3 strands of gemstones in here. It's a good box for people who are trying to build up their stash, maybe a beginning beader who doesn't have much of a stash yet, and maybe you don't want to spend a lot of money. Like when I first started beading, I didn't know if I was going to enjoy it, so I didn't want to spend a lot of money on beads, and then it turned out I didn't like it. I don't think this box was available when I first started beading. If it was, I didn't know about it. I probably would have subscribed to it if I had known about it, because it's the least expensive box out there at $20, and you get a lot of beads. There's usually good long strands of beads in here. It also has a findings starter kit in it, and it's got pretty much everything you need to make jewelry straight out of the box. All you need would be really just your basic jewelry tools. So I think I'll open this and get everything organized and see what we've got. So I'll be back. Okay, I think I've got everything sorted now. I was going to show y'all, though, it says here bead sizes and types may vary due to availability. Sometimes if they run out of a particular bead strand or something, they'll substitute something different for it. But usually, like in my experience anyway, if they do substitute, they'll give you, usually you'll get the same color. You might just get a different size. Like here where it says 8mm turquoise marble style glass bead, you probably will still get that color, but you might get like a 6mm instead of an 8mm, or a 10mm instead of an 8mm, or something like that. So that's usually how they do that. So I'm going to start with the findings starter kit here, and it's always either silver or gold, and this time it's silver. And I don't know whether or not their findings are nickel free. And if you've been watching me for a while, you know that I always make sure all my findings are nickel free, because I have a terrible allergy to nickel. And I know a lot of other people do too. And I don't want to make anything that might cause somebody to have an allergic reaction. And I don't know for sure that these are nickel free. But I still use most of them anyway. Like for instance, this is the stringing materials. You have a few coils of memory wire here, and some bead stringing wire, and some elastic. And of course, you know, with the bead stringing wire, that's not going to really ever be touching your skin, because it's going to be covered up with beads and all. So I don't mind using that. And the elastic is, of course, not metal, so it's not going to have nickel in it. And it's good thick elastic, which I like because I'm paranoid when I make stretch bracelets that they're going to break, and I like to have the thicker elastic. And then the memory wire, you get a few coils of memory wire. And it's really not going to be touching your skin very much, especially if you put one of those memory wire end caps on the end that you can get. And sometimes you can just glue a bead to the end of a regular bead to the end of memory wire and do that, and then you really wouldn't have any of it touching your skin, so it wouldn't there wouldn't be any worry about any nickel allergy there. And then there's some jump rings and some head pins and some crimp beads. And I'll use the jump rings in areas that are not going to touch the skin, like maybe around the front of the necklace where it's going to hang against the chest against a blouse and it won't be touching the skin, or as a to hang a dangle off the extender chain, or to hang a dangle off earring or something like that. And then the same thing for the head pins. I'll use them just wherever in places that are not going to be touching the skin. As far as the crimp beads, I always use crimp tubes because crimp tubes are just easier to use than crimp beads, and I always use Bead-A-Lon. I know that Bead-A-Lon is a good brand and they're not going to fail, most likely. And I think Soft Flex crimp beads and tubes are good too. I've just never had any Soft Flex. But the crimp tubes are just easier to use, especially if you're going to crimp, like, where you put each little wire in its own little individual channel and then fold the crimp. Crimp tubes are easier to do that than crimp beads. I mean, you can do it with crimp beads. I've got some Bead-A-Lon crimp beads that I think I bought by accident one time thinking they were crimp tubes. And it turned out they were crimp beads. And I've done that with them. You can do it. But it's just easier to use crimp tubes. If I'm going to use these less expensive crimp beads like this, I usually only use them when I'm going to flat crimp. And I don't do that very often. It's not that I don't think it will hold. I know it will. It's just that I don't really like the look of a flat crimp. So I only do that if I'm going to be able to hide it. Like if I'm going to put a crimp cover on it or hide it inside a clamshell tip, I'll do that. And I usually, when I'm using these not as expensive crimp beads, I will usually put two on there. Like I would stack two on top of each other and flat crimp them and then hide them inside of a crimp cover or a clamshell tip like that. And then there's lobster clasps and ear wires. And I don't use the lobster clasps at the clasp area unless it's, if I'm going to put the clasp at the side of the necklace or in the front where it's going to be hanging against the blouse and not touching the skin. I'll use them for that. I also sometimes make eyeglasses holders and lanyards. And at the front, you attach your little rubber piece that holds your eyeglasses on with a lobster. I do with a lobster clasp, and of course that's going to be hanging against the chest, against your blouse at the front of the chest, so it's not going to be touching your skin. So I use them for that a lot. I've not figured out a way to use the ear wires though, because I don't know a way to use ear wires other than for earrings, and I don't know that they have nickel in them or not, so I don't use those at all. So that's it for the findings. So it looks like the first strand I have here is a strand of 12mm golden spot marble style glass beads. And it's a 6-inch string. And these are just really pretty. Got that brown in there and some blue, maybe blue turquoise or something in there. Those are just some really pretty chunky beads, 12mm. And then I have 10mm brown spot marble style glass bead, a 6-inch string. And these are really pretty. They're that same, got those brown spots there, and then also they've got that same color blue, it looks like there in them, that maybe turquoise color blue. Those are really pretty. And then there's 8mm turquoise marble style glass bead, and this is a 16-inch string, so that's a lot of beads. And these are just a really pretty turquoise color. They've got a little swirl inside them there. I don't know if you can see that or not. They've got a little bit of a swirl design in there, which of course matches our big beads really well. That blue matches the blue that's in those beads really well. So these are really pretty. A big long strand of beads here. And then there's the 8mm brown / crystal crackle frosted duo bead, a 10.5-inch string. And these are really pretty. They're crystal on one side and then that brown on the other side. Got that crackle glass effect in there. So really pretty. Go really well with the other beads we've got here. And then next is one of our strands of gemstone beads. This is 8mm turquoise gemstone bead, 7 to 8-inch string. And those are really pretty gemstones. Really love turquoise. Seems like turquoise goes with just so many other things. Those are really pretty, all the different designs in each little bead there. Like I've said before, I'm always fascinated by gemstones. Those are really pretty. And then there's the 8mm lapis gemstone bead, 7 to 8-inch string. Those are really pretty. Lapis gemstone beads. They seem to have a kind of a textured look to them. They're just really pretty. And the next strand says 8mm gray / brown gemstone bead. And it's a 7 to 8-inch string. And those are really pretty. All different kinds of designs in there. Nice neutral color, go with all these other beads really well. Those are really nice. And the next one says 6mm brown spray glass bead, 10.5-inch string. And those are really pretty. They've got that little design on there that is spray glass, I guess. Little splotches of color there on some of the beads, or splotches of white there on some of the beads, or I don't know if it's white, maybe a cream color. I don't know for sure, but it makes them really interesting looking. The next strand is a 6mm turquoise bloom spray glass bead, 10.5-inch string, and those are really pretty. They've got those same little splotches of different color on all the beads, some more than others. That's a really pretty color blue, and 10.5-inch string of 6mm beads is quite a few beads. And that's really pretty color blue. I guess that goes with all these goes with our Bayou blue theme we've got going on here. And then we have 6 16mm Galaxy Luster glass beads, and they have a large hole, and they really do have a large hole. You could for sure get some leather through there. Those are some really big beads. Probably would definitely want to use those on some leather. You could, I'm sure, easily get 2mm leather through there. They're really pretty. Kind of sort of a gold on one side and kind of a purple on the other side, depending how you turn them. And we have 6 of them here. And then we have 6 12mm blue Galaxy glass beads. These are really pretty. Get them on my little rod here so you can see them better. Those are really pretty. Different colors depending on how you turn them and how the light hits them. It's really pretty. Transparent. You can see the rod through there. Those are really nice. And then there are 15 10x6mm silver metal spacer beads. So that's nice to get a little bit of metal in here. See if I can get some on my rod here so you can see the design better. That's what those look like. Those are really nice. And then the last thing are two 34 by 6 millimeter silver filigree metal tubes. And there's two of them. And those are really nice. They're really nice at the front of a necklace to use as part of a focal. They're just really pretty. I just tend to like anything that's filigree. I like my filigree bead caps, and I like just anything. I just think they're pretty. We've got some really pretty little, it's got a pretty design on it there. So hold on, let me get everything together and I'll be back. Okay, there's all the beads in the August 2023 curated bead box called Bayou Blues. I don't have the findings out here. I've still got them in little plastic baggies because if I take them out, I'm likely to lose them. And I know y'all know what findings look like anyway, so the beads are the more interesting part, but it's nice to have the findings. Like I said, I'll put that coupon code in the description box below and a link to the page to sign up for the subscription if you want to check it out. There's a lot of beads here. Like I said, it's a good box for people who are trying to build up their stash or beginning beaders who don't have very much of a stash yet. I hope y'all have enjoyed this video. As always, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate those of you who have subscribed to my channel and watched my videos and liked and commented on my videos. I have a website where I sell my jewelry. It's Teresa's Handmade Jewelry, and I'll put a link to it in the description box below in case you're interested, along with a link to my Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, and my email. If you haven't, I'd really love it if you'd subscribe and hit the notification bell so you'll be notified the next time I upload a new video. So until next time, I hope y'all have a great day. Take care.